Is cryptocurrency going to be the best possible investment for 2019? And what does Tony Robbins know about Bitcoin that the average investor might want to take note of? Our old buddy Tony Robbins tweeting about Bitcoin. Now, he tweeted to an article that is on tonyrobbins.com talking about what is Bitcoin, how to get involved, etc. Now, the article is a couple months old. It has just been published. I don't know why they waited so long, but it has been published now. It was one of Tony's final end-of-year tweets, was about Bitcoin. Now, I know there are some people out there that don't like Tony Robbins. Personally, I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. I've loved his books and his talks over the years. Been very inspirational for me. To see Tony Robbins tweeting about Bitcoin, I find incredibly encouraging. Now, obviously, DYR and all that stuff, don't go out and buy Bitcoin just because Tony Robbins tweeted about it. But I think it says a lot in terms of people looking at this as a real opportunity. Because Tony Robbins is somebody who looks for opportunities, who's able to psychologically look at things and be counterintuitive. When everyone else is afraid, he looks and goes, oh wow, maybe there's some real opportunity here. I don't want to think like the herd. I want to think like myself. Very important. Anyway, that's a really great nod of approval, I think, for the crypto industry overall. We've had some big stars talking about cryptocurrencies over the year. Gwyneth Paltrow, for example, talking about Bitcoin. I'm much more excited about Tony Robbins mentioning Bitcoin because he has a huge audience of enthusiastic professionals and investors. So when Tony tweets about Bitcoin, I'm much more approving of that than Gwyneth Paltrow. I mean, hey, Gwyneth can come to the party too. But Tony, that's a whole different game. Now, in terms of will Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies overall be the best investment of 2019? Let me get out the crystal ball here. Who knows when it really comes down to it, but I want to give you some reasons why I think that it may be one of the best investments of 2019. Obviously, 2018 didn't work out very well for cryptocurrencies. We did see a lot of downward movement in the price. That's not to say that a lot of people didn't make a lot of money on crypto in 2018. It's just that the average investor probably didn't do so well. People who were able to think counterintuitively, find the opportunities, because there were lots of opportunities in 2018 if you did your homework. Those people did well. But for large amounts of people to do well, for crypto assets as a whole to do well, because there is no arguing with that whole market coming down as much as it did. Will we see a market move in the opposite direction in 2019? Well, I think a big part of this is actually going to be correlated to underwhelming performance to bad performance across a lot of traditional market areas. Now, this is the stock markets. Obviously, we've seen a very rough time recently for the stock markets, 2018 being the worst year for stock markets in the last 10 years. Remember, that was 2008. That was a really bad time for the stock markets. We did see stocks plunging in ways that we are very unaccustomed to seeing stocks move down. It looked like the crypto markets for a couple of days. It was very entertaining, I think, for a certain class of people. But nevertheless, that scares regular investors. A lot of investors are conservative. A lot of investors will only invest in the stock markets. But cryptos are becoming more and more professional and serious all the time, so that we can actually bring in some of those investors who have perhaps sat on the sidelines of crypto. 2018 was really a watershed year, not for the price of cryptocurrencies, but for the crypto industry overall, because we saw so much investment happening, so much infrastructure being built, and that did not go unnoticed by the big money players. Now, let's just add into the woes of the stock markets in the US that the Chinese markets were also hit incredibly hard. We have fears around Brexit moving into 2019. The oil markets, ever a concern. Trade wars between the US and China also could be a big factor in 2019. General political dysfunction continues across the globe, and the debt crisis is completely out of hand. Not to say that's going to come to an end in 2019, but it doesn't do a lot for confidence in investing in bonds and things like this. It really becomes problematic as time continues to move on. So will fear of traditional markets push more investors to cryptocurrencies? I know a lot of non-traditional investors, millennials, and people who are able to think a little more counterintuitively to the mainstream narratives have been interested in cryptocurrencies. But the real thing that we are looking for is, can we woo some of those more traditional investors to come into cryptos? I think the answer is yes. I feel like the crypto markets are really bottoming out, where we've seen this massive run in the stock markets for 10 years, right? And only now are we starting to see this pullback moment. And a lot of people have been talking about a wider economic downturn, moving into a recession for some of the major economies. This is a very, very real possibility. So with this kind of doom and gloom scenario for traditional markets taking place, people are still going to be looking for places to invest their money. Cryptocurrencies, a market which is either bottomed out or near bottoming out, represents a very, very attractive opportunity. In 2018, in spite of the price, we saw a massive influx in new users. Active addresses have gone up, and a lot of more people have learned about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies overall. The developing world is catching on. Paxful's sales in Africa up 20% this year. Quite impressive number indeed. Obviously, we have the giant players, Bakkt and Fidelity and others who are getting big into crypto. These guys are going to be the industry titans when they launch their products. These services are starting in 2019. Will probably get really, really big in 2020 though, but that initial catalyst in 2019 could be very interesting indeed. You can take all of what I've just said and add into that Bitcoin whales. That rare, rare species of mammal out there floating around with big bellies full of Bitcoin. Well, the Bitcoin whales have been very active recently. There has been addresses which have been dormant for years, waking up and moving Bitcoin around. Massive amounts of Bitcoin have gone across over-the-counter desks this year. Part of that demand, of course, being driven by China. Once China officially banned exchanges, it all just went underground. So it's really hard to see the actual volume here happening on Bitcoin, because even though a few of the OTC desks are being tracked, there are a lot of OTC trades happening in the dark. We don't really know who's buying it, who's selling it, but we can see the Bitcoin moving from address to address. So we have a little inkling of what's going on, but we do know for certain that Bitcoin is being moved around, massive amounts of it, from long dormant addresses or from active addresses that are just accumulating even more or spreading it out across multiple addresses. A lot of things are going on in the whale scene, and that makes me think the whales are getting in. And yes, there are people who are selling, but you don't know their circumstances. They might have bought in at $3 and cashing out at $3,500. Still looks pretty good. But the fact is, on every sell, there is a buyer on the other end. And you have people who are buying thousands of Bitcoin at the current prices. It says that they have a lot of faith in these markets moving forward. Now, those could be Wall Street investors, those could be Chinese oligarchs, Russian oligarchs, American oligarchs. Who knows? But you can't argue with the facts. That Bitcoin is changing hands on massive scales, which means that people are throwing a whole lot of money in the past couple of months into the crypto markets. The question is, can we think like whales, or will we think like plankton? Plankton! Another factor to consider is that the market cycle might actually be nearing its end, where we do see this bottom happening. We have gone through these different emotional phases, as according to the Wall Street cheat sheet, for whatever value you want to give to that. but that we really might be moving into 2019 looking towards rebuilding value in the crypto markets. Everyone who's out there saying that Bitcoin is going to zero is basically categorically wrong. Bitcoin is not going to zero. There's a lot of haters, and people love to be smug when the prices are down, but that doesn't erase the meaning of Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin, the real underlying principles of censorship-resistant money. Very important stuff here. Not to mention, of course, that we do have the Bitcoin halvening happening in 2020, which I know that doesn't really necessarily affect 2019, but there might be people who will start that accumulation process over 2019, looking forward to 2020 thinking, this is probably going to make the price go up when Bitcoin daily emission drops by 50%, because that's what's going to happen in 2020. So is Bitcoin going to be the best investment of 2019? There are some people who think that Bitcoin is going to break away. A lot of the alts have had their time. They're going to be left behind. And that might be true for some of the utility tokens who may not recover their value. But I look at it and think that Bitcoin, yes, great investment. Also, no, not great investment. And let me tell you why. Bitcoin, if we get to the previous all-time high, that's great. That's an amazing investment opportunity. You put in 3,500 or 4,000 today, you get to pull out 20,000 in a year. That is a great investment. But you put 500 bucks into an altcoin as a speculative, you might still be able to pull out $20,000. So when you look down the list of different altcoins that are available, there are some very, very juicy opportunities. So yes, Bitcoin is the safest bet when it comes to the crypto markets, and that is definitely in parentheses when we talk about safe bets in the crypto markets. But when we look at the altcoins, there is a lot of potential. There are so many gems there that are great platforms. Utility tokens, got to be careful with those if they don't have a real network effect. You're really struggling on it. The Binance coin, for example, amazing utility token. Simple utility token. Lots of utility. People use it. Price has gone up and will probably continue to go up as it becomes rarer as Binance continues to burn BNB tokens moving forward. Other utility tokens, not so much utility, and the market has responded to that accordingly. But look for the platforms. The platforms, I think, are going to do very well in 2019. There will be a lot of people, of course, moving into platforms, looking at platforms as investment opportunities. So the decentralized currencies like Bitcoin, but also things like Litecoin will continue to do well moving forward. Maybe some others farther down the line. But Bitcoin will be where the big money goes, because Bitcoin does have the brand name, it does have the reputation, it does have that larger institutional focus in terms of what's been built up for Bitcoin with custody and professionalization and all these different things. So a lot of that big money investors, they're going to end up at Bitcoin. But there will be a lot of speculation on these different altcoins, and they're probably going to offer better percentages of return. The important thing to keep in mind when playing the altcoin game, though, remember to take your profits. You don't want to get into something, watch it go up 50x, and then ride it back down. We've all been there. We've all made that mistake. It's no fun. So make sure you have your risk management ideas in mind going into 2019. I do think that cryptocurrencies could indeed be the asset of 2019. Looking back over the last 10 years, cryptocurrencies have had amazing performance. And I know everyone's saying, well, we're just getting started in crypto. Well, it's been around for 10 years. It's only been around for 10 years. It's absolutely crazy how young the industry still is. And when you see what's being built, when you understand the wider picture behind cryptocurrencies, you understand how far we still have to go in terms of building out this infrastructure of decentralized payments and censorship-resistant money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The price is going to follow. It simply will, if you have adoption happening. That, of course, being one of the key things that we do need to see, but it's getting better and better every single day in terms of adoption. Anyway, those are just my 2 Satoshis on what is happening in 2019 with crypto. but I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think that Tony Robbins is onto it here? Do you think that he's looking at Bitcoin right now and he's chosen to tell his audience about Bitcoin now because of where it's at in the market cycle, because of where the price is at? Or do you think it was just a coincidence? And do you think that cryptocurrencies are going to be the best performing asset class of 2019? Let me know about down below in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. You are super awesome and amazing for watching these videos, taking the time out of your day to come over here and listen to this dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet. I hope that you have an amazing 2019. Happy New Year to everyone out in the audience. And remember, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this. If you are new around here, subscribe to the channel. And of course, hit that notification bell to stay up to date when I put out a new video. Long live the blockchain. And peace out till next time.